Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Sir Regi and friends. My name is Akila Shifa Al-Khirani, with student ID number is 2019-5474. Today, I want to explain or discuss about Chapter 3 of Analysis Financial Report, which is about the analyzing financing activities. In the business activities are financed with either liability or equity, or both. Liability are financing obligations that require the future payment of money, service, and other assets. There are two kinds of liabilities. First is financing liabilities, and the second is operating liabilities. Financing liabilities are all forms debt financing, such as the long-term notes and also bonds and the short-term borrowings and leases. And for operating liabilities are the obligations that arise from the operation, such as the trade creditors and also the post-retirement of obligations. As I said before, that the business activities are financed with either liabilities and equity, or both. So the equity in here refers to claim of owner on the net asset of the companies. In here, we have 6 subtopic, which is debt financing, leases, contingency or commitments, and commitments of balance sheet financing, shareholders' equity, and the last is the post-retirement benefits. Now, first, I want to explain about the debt financing. Debt financing or financial liabilities refers to the funds that a company has explicitly borrowed from the various providers of the capital. There are several kinds of debts. First is public debt, and the second is private debt. Public debt is the company that may borrow directly to the investor by issuing the securities such as the bonds. And the private debt is company may also borrow to the financial institutions such as the banks in the form of the loans. And then the financial liabilities are also called with the interest-bearing liabilities, and has fixed terms at the end of which that the debt will mature. It means that the borrowed amount or the principal must be repaid at maturity. In here, there are 2 classifications of liabilities. First is current liabilities or short-term liabilities. Second is the non-current liabilities or long-term liabilities. The current liabilities or short-term liabilities are the obligation whose settlement requires use of the current assets and the incurrence of another current liability within 1 year or the operating cycle. And the second is the non-current liabilities are obligations that not payable within 1 year or the operating cycle. It means that it will longer more than 1 year. And then the accounting for debt. There are the term of the accounting debt is often used when talking the accounting mechanism of the long-term debt. First is face value. Face value refers to the amount that the company promises to return to the lenders at the end of the term. And the second is coupon rate. Coupon rate is the contracted rate at which company agrees to pay the interest and the dollar amount such as the payment, which is called by the coupon payment. And the third is the effective interest rate is the rate that market assigned to the bond at the time of its issuance. And the fourth is the fair value of the bonds. Fair value of the bonds is present value. Is the present value of the bonds discounted at the current interest rate rather than the rate and also the time of issue. In here, that the accounting treatment, as we already discussed before, the long-term debt is always reported to the balance sheet as present value, different with the short-term debt. Short-term debt is typically reported to the face value. It is because the face value rarely diverge from the present value given to the short-term nature of the debt. And then in here there are the accrual accounting identity work, which is the interest expense equals to the cash flow plus amortization bonds discount. Unlike long-term debt, but both of GAAP and IFRS are encourage the companies to report the long-term debt in the fair value. It's because that the company is adopt fair value accounting, and the balance sheet recognize the current fair value of the bonds, and all changes in the fair value of debt during the period are included in the net income as an unrealized gain or loss on debt. And then debt related to the disclosure. The companies are required to report the details regarding to the long-term and also the short-term debt. It's in notes to the financial statement. In addition, to the explaining and the amount recognized on the balance sheet, and the note disclosure provide to other useful information. And then in this it is include the information regarding to the anticipated future maturity of the debt, detail of the contractual provisions such as the collateral and the covenants, and unused balance in the lines of credit, and any other pertinent information relating to the company's debt. And then the note consists of two basic parts. First is a tabular schedule that provides to the breakdown of the outstanding debt reporting in the balance sheet, and the second is detailed the commentary of the major debt issuance. In here, that the commentary about the each type of debt provides detail about when the debt is taken, when it is due, and its nature, and also the contractual protection such as the guarantees, collateral, and then the covenants, and also the most important part is the commentary is that dealing with the covenant restriction. In here, the debt is typically reported to the balance sheet at amortized cost. This can differ from the amount of due at the maturity or face value. The face value do not diverge significantly from the from the amortized cost, as long as the coupon rates and effective interest rates are similar. In the era of low interest rate, the companies issue the rate as issue the debt with the coupon rate close the prevailing interest rates. But in during the high interest rate environments, they issue debt with the substantially lower coupon payment in such as that cases, the amortized cost and face value can diverge significantly. And the fair value diverge from the amortized cost is because they reflect to the interest rates, unlike the amortized cost, which reflects to the interest rates at the time of the issue. And then the under fair value accounting, this will result the recording unrealized gain and net income. Analyze is to exclude this. It's important to analyze is because that exclude these gains, and when analyzing company's income, the banks have to both have both an asset and also the liabilities that are sensitive to the economic wide interest rate movement, and also it makes the sense to match the value of the assets and the liabilities by marking the both to the markets. In here, that the important is for analysis is because the analysis must analyze to careful examine and future debt payment schedule at the outset of the help with cash flow forecasting. In a deeper level, the analysis have to evaluate whether the companies have the ability to repay the debt when the matures becomes an inability to do so could potentially lead the bankruptcy. Typically, the companies tend to the refinance maturing debt with the fresh borrowings. We must remember that the lender protect the money that they have loaned. Typically, there were have three ways which lender protect themselves. First is seniority, second is collateral, and the third is covenant. The seniority refers to the order which different parties will be paid when the company business dissolve. And the second is collateral. Collateral refers to the assets that are set aside during the dissolution to the specifically satisfy to the particular claim. The claim is backed by collateral, which is called by secure. In here, the covenants can be either affirmative and also negative. It can be affirmative covenants because they specify the action that management needs to take to keep the debt in good standing. And the second is the negative covenants is because they limited the management behavior, like when the violation is occurs that may be harmful to the lenders. In here, that the analyzing protection of obviously important to the credit analysis. However, understanding their implication, especially is those relating to the covenants, can also be important for the equity analysis. Why? Because they have 5 reasons, which is first is senior debt is less risky than junior debt. Why? Because it gets paid first during the company's dissolution. And the second is secured debt is less risky because there are explicit assets or the collateral that transfers to the holders of the secured debt during the company dissolution. And the third is the secured debt typically carries higher interest rates than the unsecured debt, suggesting that it is more risky. And the fourth is covenants tend to act early warning mechanism for the lenders. In here, the last is not only should an analysis keep the track of the actual covenants, but he or she must also estimate the covenant slack or margin of safety, which is measured to how close to the company is to violating the covenants. And then we move to second subtopic, which is leases. A lease is the contractual agreement between the lessor or the owner and the lessee or the user. It gives the lessee right to the use an asset and which is owned by the lessor. The term of the lease. For the term of the lease. In the term, the lease makes the rental payment called minimum lease payment, or we can call it by MLP. Lease term obligate the lease to make the lessee to make the series payment over the specified future time period. In here, there are two types of lease accounting. First is capital lease, and the second is operating lease. First is capital lease. Capital lease is a lease that transfers substantially all benefits and risks of the ownership, is accounted for an asset as an asset acquisition and liability incurred by the lessee. Similarly, the lessor treats such as lease, sale, and financing transaction. In here, that the lessee is classified and accounts for the lease as a capital lease if the inception is the lease meets four criteria. First is the lease transfer ownership to the property to lessee by the end of the lease term. And the second is the lease contains the option to the purchase property at the bargain price. And the third is the lease term is 75% or more of the estimated economic life and of the property, and also or the present value of the minimum. And the fourth is the lease payment or MLP is beginning of the lease term is 90% or more of the fair value of the lease property. And then the second types is operating lease. Operating lease is the lease that lessor account for the minimum lease payment as a rental expense or revenue, and no asset or liability are recognized on the balance sheet. A lease can be classified as an operating lease only when the none of these criteria are met. And then there are term of lease which is off balance sheet financing. Off balance sheet financing refers to the fact that neither the lease asset nor its corresponding liability are recorded on the balance sheet when the lease is accounted for the operating lease, even though many of the benefits and also risks of the ownership are transferred to the lessee. While the operating lease method is simpler than the capital leases method. Why? Because the capital lease method is conceptually superior. They both from the balance sheet and also the income statement is a different perspective. And then the accounting rules require that all lessee disclose usually in notes to the financial statement. There are two. First is future minimum lease payment separately for the capital lease and the operating leases for the each of the 5 succeeding year, and the total amount are thereafter. And the second is rental expense for each period that an income statement is reported. In here, there are 2 points we must concern. First is the FASB and also IASB is close to issuing the joint standard that eliminate the operating lease payment lease treatment. And the second is under USGAAP and also the IFRS. The standard will eliminate one of the most important forms of the balance sheet financing. In here, that the list is incentive to structure lease as operating leases related to the impact of the operating lease versus the capital leases. In here, on both the balance sheets and also in the income statement, there are five impact of operating lease for the financial statement. First is understated liabilities by the keeping lease financing of the balance sheet, and the second is understated the assets. It can inflate that the both return on the investment and also the asset turnover ratios. And the third is delay recognition of the expense in comparison the capital issue. It means that the operating leases are overstated the income and in the early term, and also but they understated the income late in the lease term. And the fourth is understated the current liabilities by keeping the current portion of the principal payment of the balance sheet. This can influence the current ratio and other liquidity measures. And the last but not least is operating leases is included interest with the lease rental, and this can influence the interest coverage ratios as the times interest earned. And the third subtopic is contingency and also commitments. We will discuss the contingency. Contingency is the potential gain and losses whose resolution depends on one or more future events. And the loss contingents are potentially claims from on the company's resources and are known as a contingent liabilities. The contingent liabilities are arise from the litigation, threat of the expropriation, collectibility of receivable, claims arising from the product warranties or defect, the guarantees of the performance, and then the tax assessments, self-insured risk, and the last is from the catastrophic losses of the property. The loss contingency must meet two conditions before the company is recorded as a loss. First is it must be probable that the asset will be impaired or liability incurred. And the second is the amount of the losses must be reasonable estimable. To disclose the contingent liability and also the loss must at least have a reasonable possibility of the incurrence. In here, that the disclosure of the contingency is important to the analysis. They typically includes, first is a description of the contingency, contingent liability, and also degree risk. And the second is the potential amount of the contingency and how participation of other is treated in the determining risk exposure. And the third is the change, if there any against income for estimated the contingent losses. There are three research that useful information. First is the not disclosure of the financial statement, and the second is information in the management discussion and also analysis section, and the third is analysis of deferred tax. Analysis of deferred tax is can show the reveal and disclose provision for the future losses, because any undeductible losses should appear an adjustment for the deferred paid taxes. And then the commitments. The commitments are potentially claimed against a company's resources due to future performance under the contract. All commitments call for the disclosure of the important factor surrounding their obligation, including the amounts, condition, and also the timing. And in here, there are 4 subtopics that we can discuss it, which is off balance sheet financing. Off balance sheet financing refers to the non-recording of certain financing obligator. For the example is the purchase agreements and also the truck put agreements. The special purpose entities or SPE is legitimated financing mechanism which have a concept which is first is an SPE is formed by the sponsoring company and is capitalized with the equity investment, some of which must be from the independent third parties. And the second is the SPE leverage is equity investment with the borrowing from the credit markets and also the purchase earnings asset from the sponsoring for and from the sponsoring company. And the third is the cash flow from the earning assets is used to repay the debt and provide a return to the equity investor. And in here there are 2 primary reasons for the popularity of SPE. First is SPE is may provide the lower cost financing alternative than the borrowing from the credit markets directly. And the second is under present GAAP, so long as the SAP is properly structured, the SAP is accounted for the separate entity, which is an unconsolidated with the sponsoring companies. In here, the FASB now classify the SPE as a variable interest rate or VIE if they either the total equity at the risk is insufficient to the finance its operation, usually less than 10% of the assets, or VIE lacks any ability to make decision, and the obligation is absorbs losses and also the right to receive the returns. And we will move to the 5th subtopic. There are shareholders' equity. Equity refers to the owner, which is shareholders, financing of the companies. It views as reflecting the claims of the owners on the net asset of the companies. The equity holders is usually subordinate to the creditors, and the variations across equity shareholder on the seniority that we have explained before, and exposed to the maximum risk and also return. The equity analysis is involved the analyzing equity characteristics, including first is classifying the and distinguish the different equity sources, and the second is examining the right for equity classes and the priorities in the liquidation, and the third is evaluating the legal restriction for the equity distribution. And the fourth is reviewing the restriction on the retained earnings distribution. And the fifth is assessing the term and provision of the potential equity issuance. The equity is classed to two basic components. First is capital stock, and the second is retained earnings. We will explain for the capital stock first. The capital stock have to report, which is the reporting of the capital stock is include an explanation of the changes of the numbers in capital shares. There are reasons for changes in the capital stock separated according to the increase and also the decrease. There are two. First is the surge and increase the capital outstanding, which is because issuance of the stock, conversion of the debentures of the preferred stocks. And the third is issuance pursuant to the stock dividends and split. The fourth is issuance in the stock in acquisition and also the merger. And the fifth is issuance that pursuant to the stock option and warrants that are exercised. And in here there are surge which decrease the capital stock outstanding. First is because the purchase and retirement of the stocks. And the second is the stock buyback. And third is refers to the stock splits. The components of the capital stock is contributed on paid in capital, which is the total. It is the total financing refers to the shareholder for the capital shares, which usually divided in two parts. First is common or preferred stock, and the second is the contributed or paid in capital. The common or preferred stock is the financing is equal to par stated value. If the stock is no par, then the equal to the total financing. And the second is contributed or paid in capital in excess of par or stated value. It is the financing in excess of any par and stated value. And then there is treasury stock. Treasury stock or buyback is the share of the company's stock reacquired after having been previously issued and fully paid for. And the treasury stock is not an asset. It is a contra equity account. It can cause because the reduce first is the reduce of the asset and the shareholder equity. Second is contra equity account, which is the negative equity. And the third is typically recorded at the cost. In here, there are in the capital stock there have classification with two classified. First is preferred stock, and the second is common stock. The preferred stock is the special class for the stock processing preference on the future notes enjoyed by the common stock. It's typically preferred to the future included dividend distribution preference, liquidation priorities, convertibility or redemption to the common stock, call the provisions, and also the non-voting rights. And the second classified is the common stock. Common stock is the stock with ownership interest and bearing ultimate risk, rewards that the residual interest of the company performance. And beside the capital stock, there are retained earnings. Retained earnings are the earn of the capital company. It retained earnings accounts is reflected to the accumulation of undistributed earnings or net income of the company since the inception. And then the retained earnings are primary source of the dividend distribution to the shareholder. In here there are two kind of dividend, which cash dividends and also stock dividend. Cash dividend is distribution of the asset or the cash to the shareholders, but the stock dividends is distribution of the company's own shares to the shareholders on the pro rata basis. It's represent in the effect of the permanent capitalization of earnings. They have two types, which is the small or ordinary stock dividends and also the large stock dividends. The small stock dividends are typically is less than 20% to the 25% share outstanding. It requires the stock dividend will be evaluated to the market value on the date of declaration. And the large stock dividends is typically exceeding the 25% of outstanding shares outstanding, which require that the stock dividend be evaluated to the par value of share issued. The distribution of the subsidiary. The distribution of subsidiary have taken two forms. First is spin-off and the second is split-off. Spin-off is the distribution of the subsidiary stock to the shareholder as a dividend. But in split-off it is the exchange of the subsidiary stock owned by the company for share in the company owned by the shareholder. The accumulated comprehensive income. Some of items that's included in other comprehensive income is first is unrealized gain and loss from the marketable securities classified as available for sale. And the second is the unrealized gain or loss on derivatives that the qualify and hedge the accounting. And the third is pension and also OPEB adjustment. And the last is foreign exchange translation adjustment. In other US GAAP and also IFRS, other comprehensive income is accumulated over time and showed separately from the retained earnings, but as a part of shareholder equity under the heading accumulated other comprehensive income. The computation of book per share. Book per share is the per share amount resulting from the company's liquidation at the amounts reported on the balance sheet. The book value is conversational terminology, which referring to the net asset values. That's asset is reduced by the claims against them. The convertible debt is the classic hybrid security as the combination of feature of the both debt and equity. Usually, the convertible debt is allow the holder on the option to the convert at the fixed price. The analyze must be alert or focus for the equity securities, which typically preferred stock. Process the mandatory redemption provision, making them more akin to the debt than the equity. The securities are required to company to pay fund at the specific dates. And then the company that owns the controlling share is called by the parents, and the company which does owned by the partially owned subsidiary. Minority interest, or we can call it by non-controlling interest, is refers to the portion of the partially owned subsidiaries shareholder equity that belongs to the minority outside shareholders, and the parents company are required to consolidate the subsidiary financial statement in their own. US GAAP and also IFRS are required the companies to report the minority interest in the consolidated balance sheet as a separate line that is not a part of the parent shareholders' equity. And the shareholders' equity reporting under IFRS. The shareholder equity reporting under IFRS have common patterns that have been observed. First is the share capital is reported as a separate line item. And the second is most companies reported the retained earnings, but the few is included the retained earning in the reserve. And the third is the reserve is include the accumulated other comprehensive income, option compensation, share premium, and in some cases it is the retained earnings. The fourth is minority interest or non-controlling interest. Non-controlling interest is shown separately from the parent's company shareholder equity, but it is included as a part of the total equity. And the last but not least is some companies reported the detailed component on the balance sheet, while other report only aggregates for each category. That's all my explanation or discussion for the chapter 3, which is analyzing financial activities. Sorry for if there is a mistake. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.